I just love boys that I love boys that they make it obvious when they actually really like you. Like, I'm over the games. Just tell me you love me and you want to marry me. And we can have I don't know if I want kids, but we can get married. I don't know if I want marriage either. But we can be together and buy a house and get a puppy. Perfect.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll discuss modern women versus traditional wives. We'll also watch a video featuring a feminist claiming that men want to steal the success of women when they're successful entrepreneurs. We invite you to smash that like button. Let's support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement. Leave your experience in the comments for any man who may need it. Without further ado, let's begin.
It's definitely a hot take, but I don't think relationships should be equal. Speaking in general, men and women have different strengths, and that's why partnerships work. I really don't think that relationships should be equal. I don't think I should be working and he should be working and we should be making the same amount of money and doing the same chores, and I don't think that works. And I'm definitely not saying don't work and be submissive to your partner. That's not it at all. Just focus on your strengths. My boyfriend takes care of, he's a manly man in a sense, takes care of things, happy to do it. I'm a total mama at heart. I love making sure that people that I love are taken care of and things go smoothly for them. And that's not saying that things aren't going on in my life. I still do my own shit and also take care of people. I also think it's really important to let a man be a man. If he wants to pay for something or he wants to do something, let him, okay? Just let him. It fuels his ego. And it's really not to say that you can't do it. It's just let a man be a man.
Absolutely. A man has to be a man, but nowadays society wants to forbid that. It wants men to become effeminate. That's why you hear so much talk about connect with your femininity, or become an ally, or a simp, all a bunch of Winnie the Pooh. But the ironic part is, when they turn you into the nice guy, that simp who does everything for her, she cheats on you or leaves you for a Chad, a man more masculine than you, the one they always said you shouldn't be. It's like their equality speech they keep announcing every moment, but it's equality with nuances, of course, because equality doesn't apply to dating, to your money when you earn it, or to household expenses. It only applies to house cleaning. But where they really love it is in the 50/50th divorce split. Oh, they love that one. That's why I'll say it loud and clear. In a household, there can't be two bosses. There always has to be one above and one below. It's not submission, it's respect. The boss guides the home, sets the goals, and takes care of it, while the second one takes care of the first, organizes the home, the children who are beneath the other two. This worked for years, but the modern woman hates this. Not the married ones, of course. It's the ones who've never had a husband who say this is oppression.
We're talking about tradwives again today, and oh my God, do I have a story for you. TikTok ruined my husband of 12 years. Now he wants a tradwife, and we're getting divorced. I'm going to go through and summarize the article, but basically that they got married, they were never a traditional couple, they both worked, they both had the same hours at work, and all of a sudden he started watching tradwife content and idolizing a specific content creator and started making mean, nasty comparative comments to her and talking about how now he wants a submissive tradwife. Even though she said she never wanted to be a homemaker or a stay-at-home mom, and they had been living 12 years of their marriage with a very, very equal dynamic, and all of a sudden he becomes verbally abusive. He says he wants a submissive wife, that he deserves better, and yada, yada, yada. He ends up contacting other women, having emotional affairs, and now they're getting divorced, quote unquote, because he deserves better. Now, as someone who does have a semi-50s aesthetic and is a stay-at-home mom, I often get lumped into this idea of being a tradwife. But I want to start off by saying there's nothing wrong with having traditional gender roles as long as that's something as the woman you want to participate in and you feel safe and supported in doing so. Same thing with dressing modestly. I don't think there's a problem with a woman choosing to dress modestly or a woman choosing to stay home with her children because that's how she feels the most fulfilled. I think the problem comes in when that's the type of woman a man is searching for, because usually they're doing that to search for somebody who they can be dominant over. And tradwife content can kind of lean into the fantasies of men like this, these men who are wishing to have this submissive, dominant role within their marriages. And what you see online absolutely has an element of fantasy and cosplay that gets lost in the social media literacy of some of these viewers. That is one of the reasons I take a lot of issue with tradwife creators on TikTok who talk about this being the idealized and natural role of a woman. Because although that might be right for you, making that a broad generalized statement can do some real harm to actual women and actual marriages, like in that article.
This is a fallacy. When a man starts watching content about traditional wives, especially if he's married, and begins to complain to his wife, it simply means there were underlying issues in that relationship that the man had been enduring. When he communicated them to his wife, she just swept them under the rug, forgot about them, until one day the man exploded. As a man, you don't want to dominate, but you do want better treatment. When you see a woman who cooks for you, shows affection, takes care of the home and children, yet still affectionate towards you, dresses elegantly, and doesn't have a dead bedroom, tell me what man wouldn't be attracted to that. As I said, there can't be two men in one house. That woman had her dream relationship, but did she ever think if her husband did too? He was probably the typical modern man, who has to work, pay the bills, also do half of all the chores, besides taking care of the kids, receiving a woman who comes from work, doesn't appreciate him at all, who only does her part, who surely never ate a hot meal because if both are working, who cooks? And surely, she arrived tired, and even if he did the chores, she couldn't have intimacy because she wanted to sleep to go to work tomorrow. When you see it like that, I assure you she regrets not leaving earlier, sacrificing 12 years of her life with that woman.
I'm here to tell you why that whole tradwife trend is absolute bullcrap. I just got off the phone with a friend of mine who has been married for about 15 years now. Before she got married, she got a master's degree in education and a law degree. She met her husband in law school. He wanted a traditional wife. She did not take the bar, and instead they got married. He took the bar. He passed the bar, he became a lawyer, and she became a full-time housewife and later a mom. Times 5. They have 5 children. Okay, fast forward 15 years, where he has been cheating on her for years. She finally caught him red-handed. She has enough confidence and determination to say, I want a divorce, I'm done. He's walking away with a $300,000+ job that he got, by the way, from one of her mom friends in a mom group. Let's just put that aside. She has nothing. She has 2 advanced degrees, 0 experience. So are they even worthwhile? Are they even worth anything? She has nothing to show for it. And in the last 15 years, what has changed in law and in education? Probably quite a bit. So she is stuck at this crossroads of feeling like she has nothing. And before you say alimony, he is trying to screw her out of everything he possibly can. She cannot keep the house, even though she has primary custody of the children. She can't afford it. She has no job. Absolutely no job right now. And even if she did, there are 5 children. So between drop-offs and pickups at 4 different schools, she has about 3 hours in the daytime when she is not tending to children. So to any woman who is considering that the trad wife lifestyle might be it for you, I encourage you to think about this story. Remember it. And just remember that you as a woman need to have something for yourself. If anything, just for yourself, because you absolutely never know what can happen in life, whether it be divorce, whether it be cheating, whether it be the passing away of your spouse. You have to take care of yourself and put yourself first. You can still love and support your husband and be an incredible wife who takes care of your man, but take care of yourself first.
The advice of a divorced woman who only thinks about individualism. This woman had bad luck, but she's no different from the hundreds of men who have it. In 15 years, she never had time for at least a part-time job. I doubt it. Besides, they'll tell me she left empty-handed. If a woman can take a lot with 1 child, imagine with 5. I'm sure she'll get half of the savings, half of all the assets. Also, if he cheated and she found out, she has evidence to show. I agree she shouldn't receive alimony because I assure you, with 5 children, she'll receive a good amount for child support. So, I don't buy into the story that she's the victim here. If the man cheated, that's not acceptable, but she could have gone to therapy. Or is therapy only for women who cheat? But not only that, in 15 years, you never had time to work or go back to school, or have a part-time job, even for 5 hours? You didn't have any savings. In short, you never did anything. I'm sure there's more to this story that she's not telling us because in a divorce with 5 children, plus infidelity, the woman always comes out on top.
They want her accomplishments to sort of rub off onto them. And then when they feel like they own her, they, dust off their hands and say, okay, I loved that for you. I hope you had fun. Now I need you to shift your focus towards me.
Remember, everything that men accuse us of is what they do. Every single thing they accuse us of is what they are doing or want to do or will do. And Jules just made me realize for the first time, this is another one. This is another example. How many times have we been accused, women, of trying to change a man? That's just what we do. We try to change a man. Now, I am not denying that that's true. Anybody who grew up on A Beauty and the Beast would learn from a young age that, he's a terrible human being who has a whole collection of inanimate objects that are terrified of him that he's holding hostage, who serve him. He throws tables at women, but all he needed was love. And then he's a beautiful prince again. Oh God, I still owe y'all a Beauty and the Beast video. I hate that movie. Groomed us into dating violent men. Anyway, so the point is that they have done such a good job of convincing us that we are the ones who just want to change men. We get with the man and then we try to change him. And again, it's not that that's not true, but what's even more true is that men are the ones trying to change us. Again, like I've said, if you are an independent woman who has her own money, your career is doing well, and you're loving your life, and you're living your best life, you oftentimes have a terrible dating life because you will attract men like she's talking about. I included a link in my caption. Go watch her video. So many men get off on bringing us down and changing us. And they will convince us that, rah, feminism, yay, I love an independent woman, yay, I support your career, yay. And then as soon as you get married or just something happens, you have a baby, that'll change it all. Then all of a sudden, you need to stay home. Bruce Willis did it to Demi, talked about that in a video, at the height of her career. Now all of a sudden, he wants babies and he wants her to stay home and take care of all of them. So many women have thriving careers and are so amazing at everything they do and love their life. And a man will be like, that right there, I want that to destroy it. I want that to change it. I want what she has. I want the good life.
The worst enemy of a woman is another woman. This one is a radical crazy from the purple hair movements, and she has a virulent hatred towards men, simply for existing it seems, because she got married at 40. So it's not like she has experience with men, she just hates them for denying her that experience. But let's get into her speech. She says we are selfish and want to change them, but when a woman gets pregnant, there are studies that say her maternal instinct kicks in, which is why you see so many cats with those who don't have children. There are also studies that show that when a man stays at home, the woman starts to resent him, especially if she doesn't want the responsibility of running the entire household. So how do they expect us to do it? If we support them and stay at home and become homemakers, they hate us. If we tell them to stay, they hate us. She says we see a successful woman and want what she has, so we mess with her to ruin her. We could also say the same about women who only seek successful men to take advantage of their assets because businesswomen are like single mothers. They're at the bottom of the list of women a man wants to marry in the dating market. But let's continue.
And I'm going to marry her to be associated with how amazing she is, to get that social capital that patriarchy rewards them for hitching their wagon to a badass. And then once you're theirs, uno reverso. Now it's all about me, bitch. That's what they think. That's what so many of them do. They try to change us. And they knock us up. And they make us have babies. And they say they're going to be great partners. And then they suck. And a lot of these women are married single moms. Was some of that because of their own poor decision making based on Their dad being just like that, or former trauma, or being completely lied to right out of the gate about everything that this man actually is. Or lack of education, which is one of the reasons why I make a lot of these videos, to help women see the red flags, help women to take things slow and pay attention and really understand what you're getting. And at the same time, like Jules talks about a lot, Other Mutual Lorraine talks about a lot, I'll tag both of them, the switch up. Just because you're with a man who seems okay with all your success doesn't mean he's not going to do the switch up. Because if this man has not deconstructed patriarchy at all, and if he watched his daddy do the same thing, which so many of these men did, it's his turn to be king. His turn, king baby. And you are here to support that dream. You are not going to be queen because everything in your life is going to be tied to him now. You're going to be exploited for literally everything to help him be you. He wants to be you. He's jealous of you. And now that you're hitched to him, he gets everything about you, everything you've worked for, all, the friend group, the family, all this stuff. And now he's going to get all your labor and all of your dreams. Poof. Now, I know there are plenty of abusive men who have lots of money, control women that way, but I'm telling y'all, there's just as many, if not maybe even more now, because men are so messed up. Even despite the pay inequality and all that stuff, there's so many women who are doing way better than men on their own, and then the worst thing that happens to them is dating. All their ambitions, boom. All their creative energy, all of their dreams, a gun, because this man's going to suck, turn you into his little domestic servant, the person who gives everything for the children, a man who has all these hobbies outside the home that take up all the time and the money and whatever, and you're going to take care of the kid. And all your dreams are squashed. And they have the audacity to call us the ones obsessed with changing men. I'd say most of our problems, a lot of times, giving men the benefit of the doubt, believing what they say instead of watching what they do, and hoping they will change back into the person that they promised they'd be. But in terms of literally changing somebody, I see men do that way more than women. Women may try, but men, because they have that patriarchy on their side, backing them at every turn, they're the ones who actually change their partners. And they've convinced us it's us. Everything is opposite day with men.
So what's your advice then? To let them stay alone banging against the wall? Or to get married at 45 like you? To an effeminate guy who dresses like a woman? Because if you don't want to be with a man, what's the other option? Marry a woman or buy a cat and become a cat lady? Because look, just because this man accepts your success doesn't mean he won't change. In other words, there will never be a dynamic of partnership in that relationship because the woman has to live the way she did when she was single. That's why I say women who listen to this message end up lonelier than the sun at noon. Because something she seems to overlook is that businesswomen don't seek average men. They want successful men. So what life is she being robbed of if that man is already successful? Secondly, businesswomen have the worst luck in relationships. Almost all of them end up alone. They are women who marry after 40 without children usually. So what's there to be jealous of if wealthy men prefer younger women who aren't in high-status jobs? It's not that we want to exploit them. It's that these women have become the men they wanted to marry. Every man sees it as inadequate. That's why no man desires them. And those who do, they don't like because they tend to be effeminate men. And strong women detest that. So I'll give you the same advice you're giving them. Keep banging against the wall because the wall doesn't forgive.
Number one rule as a tradwife. This is your duty as a wife. A man's home is his castle, so he should be treated as a king. He's working a stressful job, maybe working long hours, just so he can provide for you and the family. So he rightfully deserves peace. That being said, it's every wife's duty to appreciate her man and all his hard work. Show him how much you truly appreciate him, okay? He is your king, and you are his queen. That is your duty.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll talk about taking care of men and being a housewife, discussing the trend of tradwives among modern women that is becoming popular. Many feminists are up in arms, saying that being a man's wife is a terrible idea. We want to invite you to smash that like button and support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Add your 2 cents to the movement and leave your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. Without further introduction, let's get started.
It's been really interesting to see how shocked people are by the term tradwife and how they seem to think it's some new way of living, like it's some unprecedented new trend. Like, have you seen these millennial and Gen Z girls? They just want to be at home with their kids. They want to have husbands and they want to take care of their husbands. They want to cook and they want to clean and they want to wear dresses. It's insane. When in reality, it's literally like the oldest lifestyle in the book. Before this, they were just called stay-at-home moms. And before that, they were just called women. But now our society has gone so far in the feminist direction that anybody who wants to live like a little bit old school and a little bit like how women used to live is fringe, right? Like an extremist. And I just think about how so many of us, since we were little, we were raised in this kind of boss babe feminist society that told us you can be so much more than just a mom. You can be so much more than just a wife. And so many of us listened and we, tried to climb corporate ladders and we boss babed so hard. Now, like, we're a little bit boss babed out. And some of us want to go a little bit more back to our roots, to our ancestors, to the women who came before us and live a little bit more, like they did. Call us crazy, but we like babies. We want to have babies. We want to spend the very few years that we have of them being little with them. We like cooking, we like running a home, we like supporting our husbands and having good marriages. And yes, we also appreciate cute dresses. The audacity. So call them tradwives, call them stay-at-home moms, call them whatever you want. But just know that no matter how much you try and push the career and the boss babe and the feminist lifestyle onto women, there will always be women who naturally want a more traditional lifestyle, just like the billions of women who came before us.
Once, I had a professor who said, people want everything for free, except thinking for themselves. And today I see that this is completely true. Nowadays, if you choose not to accept the imposed narrative, then you are the black sheep, the one who is wrong in society's eyes. Because not all women want the life of a boss woman, and unfortunately, not all women have the ability to be good employees or climb the corporate ladder. What these women from the colored hair movement never talk about are the hundreds of women left behind, who didn't choose to become mothers in time and were consumed by depression. That's why they are the #1 consumers of antidepressants, going to therapy, or trying to suppress their natural instincts by buying a cat. Many just want to raise their children, take care of their husbands, and find in that a worthy life goal. Having a family, something called a home. Unlike many who only work, return to an empty house, and clean up after a cat, when taking care of a man is so much easier. Watch the next video.
Turn the game on, I'll brush your hair, help you put your do-rag on. Want a foot rub, want a manicure. Baby, I'm yours, I wanna cater to you, boy.
Red bean. Like I was saying, I think we should just stay friends, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not ready for a relationship. Like, I'm just not ready for all that right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. Damn. Crispy chicken. You say you cooked there? You did there? Cornbread. Cornbread too? This ain't Jip, this from scratch? Good Lord, shit. And you cook this like this all year round? It stays the same place like this all year round? Well, I don't know, baby, look. You mind if I take my Air Max off? Look, check this out. I'm gonna take my Air Max off for a couple of years because I've been thinking, since I've been sitting here eating on this, that you might be right. We might do need to get in a relationship because, real talk, I've been hungry lately, and these women I've been dealing with, this is the taste I've been looking for. So, you want to get married tomorrow? You want to get married tomorrow? Because that look like that's what's finna happen. I don't want to be single no more. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go and get married tomorrow. And I'm going to bring my little TV and my little VCR that I got, my 4 pair of boxes that I got at the crib with mom, and bring them on over here with you because look like this is my home. Look like I got a phone to have it.
Oh my God! Wow!
How hard is it to treat your man well? For a man, it means more when a woman invites him to a meal than when she puts on a face full of expensive makeup, a pricey dress, and goes to a 5-star place to impress people no one cares about. If women understood that these small details, those that seem so simple, brothers, it changes all your thoughts towards that woman. Many modern women believe that intimacy or having a pretty face is enough to keep a man and that this is why he should give her a ring. But that's not the case. A man evaluates your effort. It's incredible that some men solve problems for the women they date, paying for their apartments, some of their services, and giving them money to resolve issues. Yet that woman has never even called that man to make him a sandwich. That's why I always recommend men to test women when dating. Tell her when she calls, "I'm working, I haven't eaten today," or "I'm tired, I need to get home and make something to eat," and see what she responds. If that woman never offers to do an act of service for you, believe me, she is not wife material. Get out of there because it will only bring you trouble, especially if from the beginning she does nothing for you, only demanding money or telling you about her problems for you to solve. She is a freeloader. Get out of there and avoid chaos in your life because there are selfish women like the one in the next video.
Say to me all the time, "Why don't you make your husband a sandwich?" Okay.
A lot of women ask me about what's the difference between boyfriend treatment versus husband treatment. A boyfriend is literally that he's a boy and he's my friend. I don't owe him anything. With my husband, as is said in this video, I will do anything for him. If it's a sandwich, if it's standing by him, supporting his decisions. You know, when a man is supported by his wife, what that really means is, it doesn't mean that she's in the background. It doesn't mean that she is weak. It means she's literally supporting him. She is powering him. Do you know how powerful female energy is? And if you're powered by a woman who loves you, how powerful that is. I'm not going to spend that or give that or do that for some man who's not chosen me. So if he's chosen me, then I will do that for him. And if he hasn't, that's not my job.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Exactly. It's not your job. That's why you're single, because you never do anything for a man while dating. How do you expect me to see you as a wife if you're already failing in the early stages? This is the irony with them. They claim to have standards for a man. If the man, beyond physical appearance, is affectionate and attentive, when women say these two things, it only means he solves my problems and gives me gifts. With them, it's all about how useful he can be to me. If you don't show some utility to that woman, she will discard you. But at no point does it cross her mind how she can be helpful to her partner. Of course not, because no man asks you to act like a wife when you're not. But by never doing anything for him, you will never pass the man's consistency tests. Cook well, take care of the home, be kind to me, call me in the morning or at night to check on my day, visit me when I'm sick. These things don't require money but show that this person cares about you, that she takes care of you. Gentlemen, conduct your consistency tests. If she doesn't do anything for you while dating, it won't get better in marriage.
There's a recent trend of videos circulating on here about trad wives and, you know, how you don't see women in their 40s and 50s glamorizing that life. And yeah, because it sucks. I was a trad wife and I never expected that I would be one. I kind of ended up somewhat against my will. Around my 1-year anniversary, I was told, your job is stressing you out too much. You are taking it out on me. It's sabotaging the marriage, and you have to make a choice. I remember where I was sitting, what I was eating when that conversation went down, and the sinking feeling I had. And I didn't want to give up my very successful, high-earning career. But I thought, what kind of person would I be if I chose a job over family? So I chose family. And 10 years later, I realized that it completely destroyed my life. Always keep a job. Always have some sort of way to have an income stream. Get paid for what you're doing. Make sure there are protections. Make sure things get titled in your name. Don't believe the future faking. Don't get your foot out of your career. Take care of yourself. Yeah, it might be nice and fun to take care of your husband, and you can still do that, but always take care of yourself, because the tides turn real fucking fast, especially when they're holding all the cards and they want you to do things a certain way, and after years and years of doing it a certain way, you decide to stand up for yourself. They fall out of love with you real fucking fast. So take care of yourself, always.
Here's the thing. A person's working life typically begins at 18 and usually ends at 65. There are women who, even as wives during the early years of their children's lives, start a career and begin working once the kids reach a certain age. Others prefer to stay at home and raise the children. I'm not denying that what she says can happen, but the opposite can also occur. They romanticize the idea of working and having their own money, portraying family care as something negative. But let me tell you the other side of the story. There are men who work their entire lives, climbing the corporate ladder, and when they are in their 50s or 60s, their wife asks for a divorce. In this country, that man loses half of his 401k, his savings, sometimes even his house, or has to sell it. Some have enough assets to come out okay in the divorce, but the vast majority do not. They end up ruined, and without their family, which is even worse. That's why they end up dying faster. Does that man have any options? No, because the options an attorney can provide are limited. He is competing with the woman who stayed at home and gave everything for him, while he supported the entire household for years. So, in the end, she doesn't end up badly off. She still had a part-time job, she still had her family, and even when she quit working, she always had options. The man does not. He has to accept that at 60 years old, his future will be decided by a judge, and in 90% of cases, it won't be in his favor.
Why is tradwife content suddenly blowing up?
Because people my age that were traditional wives are getting divorced and realize that they threw 20 years of optional, available, could have been energy into the workforce, into their future. They threw that away doing laundry and watching their kids. Now, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't trade staying home with my children for anything. However, I would have insisted on some sort of investment into my future, either by way of a 401k, an IRA, a home in my name, or I would have had to have some sort of side gig where I could have put that on a resume if anything happened to my husband or our marriage. And so people my age, women that are in their 40s and 50s, that have raised their children, who have been traditional wives, are coming forward and talking about the realities of that. Because someone like my grandmother, who couldn't have left her husband no matter what, because she went from high school and her parents into being a stay-at-home wife and mother, she could never have left, ever. And so I, being 51, I am like one of the first or second generations of women being traditional stay-at-home wives who are coming out and saying, don't do this to yourself. And so tradwife content is becoming super popular right now because what's happening is the tradwife is glamorizing staying home and being a homemaker and a stay-at-home mother, which again, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you talk about the fact that if your husband dies, you're screwed, like triple double screwed. I have a family member that if her husband died or left her tomorrow, she would be a stay-at-home wife, broke on her ass with 4 kids and no way to support herself. Or if he died, she's completely screwed. And for all of you out there that say, just marry a really good man, that's great and all, but what if you're sick of this really great man? What if he dies? What if he becomes like incapable of going to work? It's not that trad wife content is extremely popular right now and everyone's being mean. What's happening is that we are the second generation of women coming forward to say, quit being so goddamn stupid and protect yourself. 50% of marriages end in divorce. And while he's making $100,000+ a year, you have no skills, no career, no resume, nothing except for kids and a dog and God knows what else. You'll be living in an apartment while he's got his new 20-something in his penthouse or the family home. So good luck. This content isn't becoming popular because we're mean. This content is becoming popular because you're glamorizing a lifestyle that you have known nothing about. You know nothing about. You're just a baby trad wife, and that's okay too. And by the way, I'm not angry or bitter. I own an island and a Porsche. I have an amazing husband, but don't get it twisted. My kids were eating 99-cent pizzas when I was a single mom. We didn't go on vacation, and we had no money to go to Burger King. It's not bitterness, it's reality. If you get traded in, that's all there is to it. Your entire life is dependent on whether or not he still likes you. Good luck.
You know which older women want to go against trad wives? The ones who got divorced, the ones who never had a husband, the ones who had multiple husbands, or those who stayed in horrible marriages just for the money. Why do I say this? Just notice when she said these 2 things, marry a good man. But what if she gets tired of this great man? And don't be stupid, protect yourself. Why does she say that? Because she got divorced once, and it didn't go well, apparently. Nowadays, when women get married, rather than fighting for a happy marriage, they worry about their exit strategy. That's why those older women are so angry about this, because there weren't as many privileges as there are now for leaving your marriage, which always has a 50% chance of failing. That's why women from the 90s onward, when they reach 30 to 50 years old, have often gone through 1 or 2 marriages. They always have a secure exit strategy that gives them some advantages. Before, this wasn't the case. Marriages lasted longer. But now they have a third option, which is to stay alone with a cat and hit the wall. If you're not willing to sacrifice anything for a family, then stay single. You'll be happier. I just hope you don't realize too late that it was a terrible choice and that the wall doesn't forgive.
Nerds. They're nerds. You go for the nerd.
This is true. Nerds make the best partners because they believe in fantasy things like trust. Nerds actually believe that people don't cheat on each other, or at least they're too busy to think about it.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will see several modern women complaining that men don't approach them. We will also see how the modern woman thinks and why a nurse is a giant red flag. We want to invite you to smash that like button, support the movement, subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask from you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement, leave your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. And without further introduction, let's get started.
Like I said, I was a nurse for 13 years. I was a neonatal ICU nurse. I was the good girl that you guys love up until 35.
Nurses are red flags, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine. That's a red flag for you. It's projection. But I was a nurse.
It's okay.
What is it, like studied red flag?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did actually have a study for nurses. I thought you might find it interesting. So it is true that nurses do not have more sexual contacts than women not working their profession. Point for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But more often betray their partners, up to 25% more often.
Yep.
And
Probably
more
'cause
than
we
other
work so
women,
much.
they have far more oral sex, 70% to 50%, anal sex, 31% to 18%. They're far more promiscuous across the board.
Okay. I've never cheated on somebody, actually. And I'm a
Yeah,
nurse.
we
So I
understand
guess
you
I'm
may not have.
the green.
We're just looking at why nurses would be a red flag or not.
Okay, I get that.
Absolutely. A woman with shifts up to 80 hours. How do you think they relieve that stress? With the anesthesiologist in the break room. It's very likely that a doctor has been with a nurse at some point. We're talking about people who live in the hospital. Of course, these women will want an adventure at some point. So that story never fooled anyone. I don't believe it. If you want to see how much happens, just watch Grey's Anatomy. That series was a real spectacle of a doctor's life. Let's not kid ourselves, it's among the professions with the most cheating. The sexual tension that these people feel being together in a hospital all day, going through so many stressful situations, that adrenaline has to be burned off somewhere. I'd like someone who works in a hospital to leave a testimony about this, about what they've seen with these women who work in hospitals.
Nice.
Where are the men? What happened?
That is a really good question.
I don't know who's to blame.
I could think of a couple possible answers in regards to who's to blame, as I'm sure we all could.
Men don't want to be men anymore.
It's not that they don't want to be men anymore. It's that they've been told over and over again by society and various other groups of people that they're full of toxic masculinity, and the traditional ways in which many men behave is no longer wanted by a large number of people.
I feel like we're around a bunch of Peter Pan. What happened to men and values and family?
What motivation do men really have to act like men when all they get in return is condemnation, criticism, and disparagement?
Taking care of their women and just being the man and the protector.
Let's not forget the large number of women out there that are constantly saying,
I don't need a man. I don't need a man for nothing.
so yeah, that's what's happened to men.
Simply put, we've entered our era of the soft guy, drizzle. We got tired of doing so much for you, of giving you many privileges just for being a woman, only for you to throw them back in our faces and insult us for it. Now we're taking them away one by one, which is why you're wondering where the men are. The irony is that you answer yourself. You don't need a man. You're a strong and independent woman. So why are you asking about us? Women will miss what it's like to have a masculine man who takes care of things, a man who leads and directs, a man who makes them feel feminine. They will miss all the privileges we once gave them. Because you got tired of insulting us, saying everything we do is misogynistic, that all our actions are wrong. So stay alone. Enjoy hitting the wall, because the wall doesn't forgive.
Okay, so to answer this question, first and foremost, let me tell you something. Stereotyping yourself into a category such as a cowboy, a businessman, a jokester, a whatever it is okay. But for anyone to get someone such as myself, here's what it is. It's really not that hard. Here's what it is, okay? Here is what it is. Okay, let's zoom back out. Let me tell you, okay? And this is real talk here. We're not messing around. You have to think of yourself like this. Are you a man of action? Okay, and a man, first let's take that word action. Action is the process of something typically to achieve aim. So if you're a man of action, you're going to attract someone such as myself. A man of action has goals, his own goals. And I don't mean all of a sudden you meet me and all of a sudden I'm your goal. Because that's annoying. You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the man. This is the man of action. The man of action is the man of the hour, the man of the minute. No matter where you are in life, are you a man of action? But being a man of action, having your own goals, and then attracting someone with goals, such as myself, there's not a better recipe than that. Man of action.
This is where I tell you to avoid chaos in your life because misery loves company. Let me tell you something based on your logic. If every action has a reaction, that means if I'm a man of action, I should have a woman at my level in every sense. You've already failed. First, you're over 30. Second, what do you contribute to my actions? Are you going to hold me back? Because showing your face like you did makes it clear that you're an expense. Women, especially those who have hit the wall, think that after 30 or more, having a face full of makeup is beauty. Ma'am, that only tells me you're high maintenance. That hinders you more than it helps you. Secondly, even if you perceive yourself as high value, the market dictates your value. A man between 30 and 45 is at his best, so he can choose who to date. Do you think he'll go for the woman in her 35s who only maintains her beauty through investment? Or a natural girl at 23 who doesn't wear makeup but looks like an angel with just a face wash? Let me know what you prefer, brothers.
Morning. I'm still hungover from Saturday night. Yay. But, if you see me in person and you come up to me, the first interaction should be a nice interaction, not oh, you're that slut from TikTok, or you're not even that funny, or you look bigger in real life than you do on the screen. I'm sorry. I was trying to have a girls' night, and then I had a couple dudes come up to me and say these kinds of comments, and this is why I don't really go out anymore. People were just absolutely foul. Oh, like I just can't. Of course, there was the occasional really nice one, and it was really nice to meet you guys. But yeah, I feel like this shit shouldn't happen. Like, you shouldn't have people come up to you and say these kinds of things. Like, people are way too confident in the sense that they don't care if they're mean.
What can I tell you? I'm known as the guy who sends you to the wall, and you're known as the TikTok slut. Everyone remembers you by the impression you leave on them, and that can't be avoided. A woman from the colored hair movement might see me as the devil himself, and I can't help that. So if you want to be remembered differently, moderate your message. Even a speaker or a coach is known for what they do or say, whether they're motivational, focused on entrepreneurship, or just the crazy one giving toxic advice. As I said, you leave an impression on everyone. It seems the impression you're leaving is quite bad for you. So moderate your message, use fewer filters, and you'll be less of a target.
One of the best and easiest ways to Pavlov's dog a man is to wear bangly bracelets. Let me tell you why. When you're doing something with your hands, it's gonna make jingly sounds, and those jingly sounds are gonna stick in his brain subconsciously. And then he's gonna associate the jingly sounds with happy hormones. So you're in a fight, always mad at you? Oh, sorry babe, didn't mean to be a raging bitch, I love you. It fucking works. It works.
Well, guess what? Okay, so you know how I'm a Libra, right? Yeah. I found out that he is a Capricorn, and apparently we're really compatible dating-wise. I know that that's a little bit psychotic because...
The only thing that you're compatible with, Joel, is a mental asylum. Proof of, Joel. Okay? I actually don't care if he's a bloody 8.
Joel, this isn't the point of it. You're a Sagittarius, we get on. I've already looked that up as well.
We get along.
Don't you say I prioritize men, Joel, because I prioritize you and me.
We get along because I deal with your looniness stuff.
Joel, please, I am not loony. Joel, you are about to shit on star signs and...
I actually am.
Joel, astrology is a real thing, and I think that there's method to the madness. Look, I don't know a lot about it.
It's like you're saying aliens are real, Joel. I don't have time for this bullshit.
Joel,
please,
everything that is Libra, I relate to. Indecisiveness, Joel?
Craziness stuff.
Doll, please, I think it's just a good sign. I'm not messaging, I'm not stupid, doll.
Then what are you bothering me for?
Because I just think it's a good update to have. Like,
okay, well let me just bank that up in my notes. I don't give a shit, doll. Let's go. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
When people start charging for thoughts or using their brains, they will begin to value it because, to me, some people have 2 mosquitoes playing ping pong in their heads. It's so bad that I've seen people dictate their entire lives based on horoscopes, which tell them every day that they will get rich, find love, or whatever else, or to be careful of a certain sign, or about stars or energy, and all that nonsense. But we're not here to judge. We have to let them be. At least they serve as consumers.
About your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
My grandmother's biggest regret in life is her not being able to get an education. She stopped going to the school in the 3rd grade. There was a semester in school at a point that my mom was my math teacher because the math teacher in school wasn't doing anything. The only way that could have happened is if she got an education. Your personal viewpoint is not what a graduation speech is for. This was not the venue nor the time nor the place to talk about that topic. Don't diminish the hard work of a lot of people just because of a personal viewpoint. Some people chose the path of education for a reason, and it doesn't stop them from being a good mom or a good mother.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will analyze Harrison Butker's speech and see how he is being attacked for defending his values. We will look at how a group of women is demonizing him for saying that his wife is happy being a homemaker and taking care of her family. We invite you to smash that like button. Let's support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask from you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement. Leave your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. Without further introduction, let's get started.
I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. By making it to this moment through all the adversity thrown your way from COVID, I hope you learned the important lessons that suffering in this life is only temporary. As a group, you witnessed firsthand how bad leaders who don't stay in their lane can have a negative impact on society. While COVID might have played a large role throughout your formative years, it is not unique. Bad policies and poor leadership have negatively impacted major life issues. Things like abortion, IVF, surrogacy, euthanasia, as well as a growing support for degenerate cultural values in media, all stem from the pervasiveness of disorder. Our own nation is led by a man who publicly and proudly proclaims his Catholic faith, but at the same time is delusional enough to make the sign of the cross during a pro-abortion rally. He has been so vocal in his support for the murder of innocent babies that I'm sure to many people, it appears that you can be both Catholic and pro-choice. The world around us says that we should keep our beliefs to ourselves whenever they go against the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We fear speaking truth because now, unfortunately, truth is in the minority. Congress just passed a bill where stating something as basic as the biblical teaching of who killed Jesus could land you in jail. I am certain the reporters at the AP could not have imagined that their attempt to rebuke and embarrass places and people like those here at Benedictine wouldn't be met with anger, but instead met with excitement and pride. Not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it, but the true God-centered pride that is cooperating with the Holy Ghost to glorify Him.
What a great speech. This man is being the most attacked on the internet for this speech, with people trying to twist his words. We saw a video where specific parts are chosen to attack him, and even seeing the parts that were cut, I don't see what he said that was wrong. It's simply bad because he's a white, heterosexual man who said it. Do you know how many women have put their careers on hold to support their families as homemakers? Feminism considers this to be something bad, demonizing it as oppression and submission to men. When many women today, thanks to their support at home, make an entire family function. I don't know if you liked his speech, if you support it or not, but I am ashamed when simp men, to get along with women, join in destroying the life of a man who simply gave his opinion, his point of view, without thinking that tomorrow it could be you, the next masculine man, who will be attacked by the same laws that you are supporting today, laws that are created to screw you over. As if dyeing your hair and supporting a rainbow flag would change the fact that you are a man. Tomorrow, when you have to put on your pants like a man because the state is coming for you, the collective with colored hair will feel sorry for you because you were an ally. I am interested in knowing what you think about his speech.
Harrison Butker, who is a Kansas City Chiefs player, is getting so much backlash for a commencement speech that he gave, which included a lot of sexist, misogynistic, and anti-LGBTQ rhetoric. And he even quoted Taylor Swift in his speech. Harrison made the graduation ceremony speech at Benedictine College on Saturday. He acknowledges that over the years he's gained a reputation for speaking his mind, and continues saying things like abortion, IVF, surrogacy, euthanasia, as well as a growing support for degenerate cultural values and media all stem from the pervasiveness of disorder. He refers referred to Pride Month as an example of the deadly sins taught in church, complaining that queer people have an entire month dedicated to their rights. I will note that he was speaking at a private Catholic college, and I will also note that not all Catholic people think this way. He also addressed women in his speech, telling them that their most important title should be homemaker. He also says some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. He says his wife would also say that her life truly started when she became a mother. He urged men to be unapologetic in their masculinity and fight against the cultural emasculation of men, and also quoted Taylor Swift from her hit song Bejeweled, saying, "As my teammate's girlfriend says, familiarity breeds contempt." However, I don't believe Taylor Swift would agree with any part of this speech. Harrison has been getting a lot of backlash online for his downright misogynistic speech. This person says one of the worst parts of this NFL player's awful speech is that he quoted a Taylor Swift song before telling women they should be homemakers and serve their man's career.
And he tells men not to apologize for their masculinity and to fight against the cultural castration of men. I totally agree with him. These are the moments when men need to support each other because, finally, someone has raised their voice, someone in a position where they can be heard. That's what scares people, that a man with the position to inspire more men has awakened and said that being masculine is not wrong, that wanting a traditional family is not wrong. I'm not saying to live in the 1950s, but to have a wife and children, to be a man who has faith in God and respects his faith and the faith of other men. This man said what many of us men have been silent about, but deeply feel is being overlooked. Today, it's frowned upon for a man to even open the car door for his woman, for a man to go to the gym, to wear neutral-colored clothes like white or black, to have a well-maintained body, and for us to gather with other men. They've taken away even the places that were sanctuaries for men to meet. Day after day, we are being castrated by this culture that supports everything except being a man. So how could I, as a man, be against this?
I wish I could be like the rest of the world and say I cannot comprehend or understand Harrison Butker's commencement speech, but I do understand it, and I got a very similar one to my own commencement speech. What people don't realize, and a huge reason of why I started my channel in the first place, is because I grew up in Christian fundamentalism, and I see it creeping into the regular evangelical Christian church with Trump, with politics, with policies. And so I know people are not hiding anymore their beliefs, they're saying the quiet part out loud. And so people who have not known that they've been working on this for years and years and years are surprised. I am not surprised in the slightest. Most churches that you go to, if they are non-denominational, if they say Baptist, if they are Presbyterian, for certain ones like OPC, some Presbyterians are more liberal, but if they're any of those basic generic denominations, they believe in complementarianism, and that means that they believe that women are to submit to men and that the woman's to be keepers at home, and that their main job is to make sure that the home is set and that they are helping and being helpmeets to their husbands. It is not surprising at all. I am a little shocked that he talked about it so openly since he's like on the Chiefs and Famous, but then I'm not shocked at all because Christian nationalists have been gaining ground and they have already said what they think and they are no longer trying to hide it, which is terrifying. And there has been no backlash on him as far as I've seen very much yet. And so he's going to get away with it because this is what they think and it is not surprising. And everyone needs to start voting and uprising and speaking out, especially if you have lived fundamentalism and you have gotten away. Use your voice because this is what they want for America, and this is what they are getting to with the Supreme Court and with Trump, and this is what the future of America will be. Women will be keepers at home and helpmates to their husbands.
Oh, hell no! And now I ask you, what is wrong with that? Because what is the other option? That men become effeminate? That women become 30-year-old spinsters without children, hitting the wall and becoming cat ladies? That boys are taught to become girls, making it easy for them to ruin their bodies and turn into women? That women dominate men and men's rights are taken away to give privileges to women? That is the other side of the coin. opposite to what this man supports. I've always said that women are slaves to their own words. If you let them make decisions freely, they will go down the worst possible path. Because this girl seems to come from a conservative home, a Christian family with 2 parents at home, which is already a privilege for many. They gave her values and an education. I don't see her being a mother or wife. Since she doesn't have that, she wants to go against what she was once taught at home. That's why the saying goes, God, protect me from my friends and family, because I can't take care of my enemies. Because from a Christian home with traditional values came the weed. I'm sure her father must be very proud of her thoughts.
Harrison Butker. You are now Harrison Butker, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hi, Christian pastor here, and I didn't know who Harrison Butker was before today, and I am not a Roman Catholic either, but since a lot of these videos showed up on my For You page, I thought I would go and read the transcript of his commencement speech that he just gave. And I can tell you this, he does not care that he represents the Kansas City Chiefs. He represents a much larger organization, which is the Roman Catholic Church. And it was wild reading that transcript, how he went after the Roman Catholic Church, but you should go read it for yourself. One of the things he doesn't care about is the Kansas City Chiefs are never going to fire Harrison Butker for this. They might try to find a reason to fire him, but it's not going to be for this. If the Kansas City Chiefs fire him, they are going to get sued out of existence. If you think the NFL is big, the Roman Catholic Church is much, much bigger. And honest to God, if they fired Harrison Butker for this, the Kansas City Chiefs might be in such bad financial trouble that they will have to move from the whole city. It's just because that would be discrimination, religious discrimination. And he is certainly allowed to express his views, even if you do not like them. And he's certainly preaching to the choir at a very conservative Roman Catholic college. That seems to be booming, by the way. Now, I think there's a couple things that we can learn about this from the transcript I read. So first off, if you want to know how conservative Christians, or even just conservatives in general, feel about how the country handled the pandemic, especially the leaders in our country, this is a great transcript to read. He was asked to speak at this commencement because the president of the college was basically like, these students have suffered because of the pandemic, and not just because of the pandemic, because of the way the leaders handle the pandemic. And so he's addressing that. And then he, of course, is going on to say that the way our culture is being led is led into things that are going to be the exact opposite of what your Roman Catholic teaching is teaching you to do. And in fact, he says priests have bought into the secular culture. He says that a lot of your classmates are going to buy into it. He even goes off of how the Roman Catholic Church really shouldn't even be doing masses in the English language. You should have only Latin masses, and you should only live in an area where they offer Latin masses. I mean, you should read the transcript, but basically he's saying that the world is aligned against you, and you need to stand in your faith and be strong. And there's going to be a lot of things that the church teaches that the culture is going to mock you for, and you just need to be strong for it. Well, most of the things I read in there, I don't agree with because I'm not a Roman Catholic. But I think when people then mock him for believing those things, you're actually just proving his point. And unfortunately, he's dug a pit for you to fall into. And a lot of these videos and response videos, just people walking right into it.
Stop it. Get some help. And as I said, men supporting the narrative that will one day be used against them. I hope that when they go to file for divorce, they don't run to one of the states where masculinity is still upheld to try to protect their assets. Because as far as I see it, look, I don't share his religious faith, but I respect every religion. I only see a man who supports the traditional masculine man, which is very much needed today. Real men need to stand up and say what they think. Just remember what happened to Andrew Tate at the time, who even ended up in prison for saying what he thinks. And for a message that was, take care of your wife, take care of your children, work on yourself, your finances, go to the gym, and reject the matrix. That made the world cry out because a man dared to speak.
This is Harrison Butker's mom, Elizabeth Butker. And I want you to just look at her credentials. She is a medical physicist on staff at Emory University. If you don't know who Harrison Butker is, consider yourself lucky, but he is the kicker for the Chiefs, and he gave a horrific graduation speech yesterday at Benedictine College. In it, he talks about how a woman's true vocation is domestic work. And I just wonder if his mom agrees. She has a bachelor's from Smith College, a master's in medical physics at the Georgia Institute of Technology, and she's been in the Department of Radiation Oncology at Emory University for 36 years. And it makes me wonder if he realized what a direct insult that was to his own parent. And it is evident that he has no respect for the work that she did and continues to do. And I am not here saying that domestic work is not work. I truly believe that it is a ton of work, and it is unpaid work. And it also doesn't matter that that would be the partnership that he would choose, even though his mom worked outside of the home. But to have a mother that is as accomplished as she is, and then to stand up in front of a graduating class, of which she was one of those people in her time, and say that women have been deviously misled into believing that having a career or getting promoted at work is more important than your true vocation of being in the home. This is wild to me.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
See, this is why the purple-haired propaganda always twists what men say to fit their narrative. When he only spoke about the diabolical lies they've been told, he said that when you achieve promotions and titles in your career, you will have successful careers, just like his mother did. Then he says what his wife told him, that she began to live when she found her vocation as a wife and mother. He didn't say, "Everyone leave your careers and go to the kitchen to make me a sandwich." He said those who are married with families. This offends women who have achieved success but never got the ring and will never be married. And even if they say they are single by choice, we all know it's because they've hit the wall. This man did not attack, but highlighted the work of his wife with their family. He didn't tell her to leave her job, just as it seems her father didn't tell her mother, who continued working on her career while maintaining her home. He didn't say let's go back to the 1950s. He said to the women who choose to be homemakers, which is a role that today a man cannot glorify, because the purple-haired ones see it as an attack and misogyny. Brothers, they want this man to lose his job and his wife to leave him just for what he said. This is how far we've come, just for expressing our thoughts. It doesn't matter your values or political affiliation, but you are a man. It seems society is invalidating, blaming, and attacking us just for existing and raising our voices in a matriarchal society. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What did you think of Mr. Harrison's speech? Do you think he deserves all the hate he is receiving for giving his opinion, to the point of losing his career? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.